Hey guys, this is Sperry, and I'm going to be talking to you about my opinions on both for myself and for others on the idea of, first of all, we'll talk about monetization, accepting ad revenue just for a little bit, and secondly, about content creators soliciting and accepting donations from their viewer base. And this is especially prevalent in the Toontown community, actually. I don't even mean this in a criticizing manner. I'm not going to make this a very edgy rant. I want to explore this in a much more nuanced way because I feel like it's actually a topic that there's multiple sides and perspectives to, and I don't want this to just be me blasting my opinions into the video. I want to actually have a serious discussion about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about both my views and also just some facts and figures and just some general information about both the money I make, the money I could make, and then the money other people are making, and the ways that they're getting money from videos, how that affects your motivation, and how that's really changed the way YouTube works in recent time. So, first and foremost, almost everybody's monetizing their videos now. They're not just monetizing it with one ad. The standard is like 2 or 3 now, and that's just because most people use ad block. So, what really ends up happening is if you don't use ad block, you get completely shafted. You have to watch like 3 ads per video. It's actually pretty awful. So if any of you watching don't want, to have to deal with that shit where you just get constantly bombarded by my stupid advertisements, just turn off ad block. Likewise, if you want to support me, if you want to go into the damn jungle of getting 3 ads a video, that's your prerogative. But I will say that it's not just me who does this. Most content creators have been doing this thing where you put on multiple ads per video because of the stupid shit with the algorithm and all that. But it's really a pretty fucked system when you think about it, because the minority of people viewing ads have to watch 3 times the ads they should, and then a bunch of people who have ad block don't watch any ads. And the revenue is pretty dumb by that. I get something like, I get a little bit over $1 per 1,000 views. I get like $1.20 per 1,000 views. And that's mostly due to the fact that the people who actually don't have ad block are the ones paying for most of that revenue. And I'm far from making any serious money on YouTube. During the entire duration of this channel, which has been up for like many months, right? I've made $40. That's literally it. I've made $40 from YouTube, and that's just from running ads. And it's really not a significant sum of money. I haven't done anything with it. It's just kind of sitting there. I could probably buy a couple meals at Chipotle with that money if I so chose. But point being, this is really not a significant source of revenue for me. The only reason I'm making these videos is like 99.99% because I want to. Because it's really just, could you imagine any less efficient source of making revenue? I've actually made less than $1 per video I've posted. And each of the videos, take me like half an hour to a few hours to make. I would be so much better off. If I just worked one day at a job, I would have made twice as much money as I've made from all 40 videos I created. Like, you can just think about how ridiculous that would be actually trying to make money from YouTube in a meaningful manner, unless you're a huge creator. So that's really all I wanted to say about the ad revenue portion of this. And those ad rates are relatively stable throughout the entirety of channels. So if you've got a channel that gets 1 million views a day, let's just say that's just a random number. But if there's a channel that gets 1 million views a day, that person's getting $1,000 per day from their ad revenue. And someone like PewDiePie who gets more like 5 million views a day, we're not even talking donations or sponsorship deals or any of that shit, any endorsements, just purely from the YouTube ad revenue without even a partnership, he would get $5,000 a day just from his ad revenue. So, and that number can be a little bit higher, especially if you have lucrative deals, all that stuff. If you're a bigger YouTuber, they treat the advertising differently. But just as a baseline, with, of course, some variation depending on your audience retention, depending on a lot of factors, you could estimate $1,000 per 1,000 views, plus or minus, a couple cents here or there, maybe even a couple dollars more if it's an especially lucrative YouTuber. And that's just from the ad revenue, not the sponsorship deals, endorsements. Big YouTubers make way more money than that because of all the different sponsors and endorsements and Patreons and all that stuff. We'll get into that. That's going to be the next part of the video. But I just want to tell you guys, I think the base ad revenue portion of YouTube it kind of sucks that only a few people are getting the ads, but in some ways, that revenue is pure in the sense that it's just something people have to put up with, but it's not soliciting money from the viewers. It's not really exploitative in any way besides wasting a bit of time of the viewers' lives that the viewers are wasting watching your videos in the first place. So I don't think monetizing your videos is malicious at all, and I think in some ways it shows, you're looking towards the future, because if your channel ever got bigger, maybe you could make some more money with it. So that's really about it. And then one thing I'd like to mention is there's an individual by the name of Critical. His YouTube channel is Penguin0. That guy actually donates all of his ad revenue directly to charities, which I think is pretty fucking awesome. I don't know of very many people on this entire site who'd be willing to donate a substantial source of their revenue. We're talking thousands of dollars a day to charity, when you could save that money and potentially change your life with it, because that's just the way humans are. A lot of people would rather, sit on a couple $100,000 of income easily a year rather than, put other people first. I'm pretty sure that guy lives on not a very big salary, when in fact he could be just swarmed in cash with how good of a content creator he is. So if there's anyone out there in the Toontown community that donates their ad money to charity that I don't know of, shout out to you guys. If anyone out there does that shit, that's pretty great. I can tell you personally that I don't, and I'm not sure if I ever will at any point, but that's pretty fucking cool. So that's it. We talk a little bit about the monetization aspect. Let's talk about the main thing I want to get into, which is the donation culture of both YouTube in general, Twitch in general, and also a lot of it has to do with Toontown YouTube itself, unfortunately, being a little different. So it's kind of gotten to this culture where it's pretty acceptable at this point, if you're a streamer especially, to just take donations from your viewers. At the very least, just having a donation button, even if you don't solicit it, is very, very common practice for almost all YouTubers by this point. The only one I know of who doesn't do it, that I've heard of on Twitch especially, is there's a guy named Jake Harvard Poker. He doesn't do it because he gambles on stream and he doesn't feel good about using donations for gambling purposes. So what he does is he has the subscribers where you can pay a little bit on Twitch to subscribe, all that. He runs a few ads, but actually I don't even know if he runs ads, but main point being that he doesn't accept donations because he feels like using the donations to gamble would be in poor taste, because his income is constantly changing by thousands of dollars every single day just because he's a high-stakes poker player on stream. But back to the main point in time, pretty much every single Twitch user accepts donations. And even YouTubers have begun to kind of take that on. You can actually solicit money. You can click a button on your channel. I have not done this, and I don't plan to anytime soon do this, but you can click a button and you can basically solicit people, ask them if they'd like to contribute to the channel in any way, help out, support the channel. Basically, there's a little donation button you can click within YouTube's little landscape where you can take donations. I have not explored this, and I don't plan on doing that because I just don't feel good about it right now, because I don't make a lot of content. I don't feel like I've come close to earning anyone's money for the type of content I do. I do this as a hobby. I don't do this in any way to make income. To me, it just doesn't feel right to take the income, especially with my current work ethic towards the channel and my current place in life. I have a lot of other ways. Assuming I get off my ass and actually apply myself to make money. Assuming I actually graduate college, I should be looking at least $50,000 a year job to start with, and probably making a good amount more than that if I actually reach my potential, which who knows if I'm going to do that shit, I'm not even sure if I'm going back to college next term, but I will probably finish it at some point. My point being that between the support my parents give me and my relative, how lucky I am to be in the situation I am college-wise, it just doesn't feel right for me to solicit money out of my viewers. And that's just me on a personal level. I don't know anyone else's life situation, and I wouldn't want to judge anyone else for that, but that's the reason why I don't feel so good about taking donations right now. It just feels so scummy because I don't feel like I'm in a financial place that's more desperate than that of my viewers, so taking the money feels really fucked up, especially right now. Next term, if I take off for a term and I start streaming every day or making videos every day, I would consider opening that up, but I would still feel highly uncomfortable about it. And the only reason I'd consider doing that is because I'll probably need to help chip in a little bit for my living expenses, since there's a good chance that I won't be attending university and I'll still be accumulating some costs. But and I'll feel guilty about it either way, because I'll feel guilty about freeloading off my parents if I don't chip in, and then I'll feel guilty about taking money from my viewers at the same time. So, main point of what I'm trying to get into here is that I just think it's a very uncomfortable thing, especially if people push hard for the donations. I understand that they kind of have to, especially if they don't want to make this a job and they don't have a huge audience, but it's really just an uncomfortable thing for the content creator too, because it just sucks having to ask people for money. I don't know of many people in the world who enjoy that feeling on a consistent basis. It doesn't feel good to realize, someone else could have used this money for anything they wanted, and instead of, just watching my videos for free, they decided to contribute to me in almost a non-necessary way. It just, for me at least, that makes me uncomfortable, and I think a lot of other people probably feel that way too. It just doesn't feel that good to take people's money for just the content you make, I feel like. And that's just, of course, my feeling and my opinion, but I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. You've got a lot of big streamers like Nightblue who actively feel uncomfortable, and they get large sums of money in the donations and pretty much never advertise their donator button. I don't even think he had one for years. And just, in general, you can tell when people don't need the money. It certainly makes them uncomfortable. Now, if you really do need the money, I think it's a little different. Maybe you can get over that a bit more because you really do need that money to get yourself through the time of need. And it's a bit different. Of course, that has to do with the size of the YouTube channel and whatnot. But, yeah, so I've noticed that. And so what I wanted to talk about a little bit is that there are some very dedicated fans who really support their content creators a lot in the YouTube community for Toontown and the Twitch community. If you look per capita, especially, I'll just give you some examples of what I mean, and I don't mean this in any way to be accusatory or in any way to make the content creators out to be bad people. These are just kind of monetary facts. And that would be that, so Mega Snoop, he makes a living doing YouTube, right? And he has something like 12,000 subscribers, I believe. And I've done the data on his Social Blade. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this. Maybe he gets a higher advertiser rate because of being a more lucrative creator. But it seems like he only gets $4,000 to $5,000 a year from his ad revenue in the most forgiving estimates possible. And that's obviously not enough to sustain his livelihood. And I've seen him, I've seen, because I watch Scars' vlogs a lot. He goes out and he buys, new graphics cards. He goes out to eat. He doesn't seem to be living a very impoverished life. And I think he lives in a relatively, big city. So he's obviously, to be in that type of situation, you have to be making at least $35,000, $40,000 minimum, I feel like, to be able to sustain that lifestyle. So clearly, I think he has to be getting at least $35,000 of that. Maybe he gets a little bit of ad revenue from Twitch too, but tens of thousands of dollars he clearly has to be making from donations to support that. And I understand why he has to do it, but I'm sure that's got to feel a little bit uncomfortable to be in that situation. I feel a little uncomfortable making this video, even talking about that, but it's just got to feel a little bit uncomfortable to be in that situation where you're relying a lot on your audience. And I actually did the math, right? Per viewer, per follower on Twitch, and per active viewer he gets on his stream, I think his viewers are contributing a lot to making his lifestyle possible in comparison to the bigger ones, because, and I guess that makes sense because he has a smaller channel. They realize they actually have to contribute to make this his livelihood. As maybe if you're a Nightblue supporter, you realize you don't have to directly donate to Nightblue to make him able to pay his bills because of how big he is, but just to give you an idea of how different the stakes are, if you took it number for number, I actually did the math on this. You guys will have to trust me on it. If anyone doesn't believe me, I can actually show you the math on this. But if Nightblue got dollar for dollar what Mega Snoop has to get is at a minimum to sustain his lifestyle, so the biggest streamers on Twitch, just from donations alone, if they got that much, they would be making over $10 million a year. And I don't think that's what's going on. So what I mean by that is that right now we're kind of in a situation where there's a lot of content creators on YouTube. I definitely don't want to single out Mega Snoop. He's just one example I could find more easily because I knew he was doing it for a living, so I could more easily quantify his stats. But I think this happens a lot more than just him. I definitely don't hold anything personally against him. I'm just trying to kind of talk about the donation culture as a whole, which I don't think he caused. Because there's another YouTuber named Loopy Goopy G. He has around 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. And this guy, again, these are the kind of things that make me wonder about this donation culture and what's different about it for the Toontown YouTube community. Because there's a YouTuber I watch named Stonewall008. He makes League of Legends videos. He has 250,000 subscribers, and this guy, I know he's going through unemployment. He's having a very difficult time in his life, right? And so he's basically made a Patreon, like the last year or so, just trying to, pay his bills, and he feels very guilty about it. But he actually genuinely really needs the money to make his videos. And I know that he's getting something like $100, $150 a month from 36 unique contributors, and that's just a little bit of change that people are donating. Basically, on average, the amount his viewers are giving is like $3. This is someone with 280,000 subscribers giving that money to him. And Loopy Goopy G, of course, this isn't his fault. He's just making a Patreon to support his channel, but he has something like 6 Patreons, and he gets $150 a month too. Or at least it's over 100. I don't remember if it's like 110 a month, but he has four patrons that are all paying $25 a month, basically. They get a video made in their honor or something like that, but they're just consistently giving him cash. And I feel like they're almost paying for a service. They're paying him $25 a month for the content he creates, I guess, to have it personalized. But I just feel in some ways like that's a little bit uncomfortable. To me, at least, YouTube has always felt like something that's supposed to be free. It's not supposed to be... I guess the biggest thing for me is I don't feel like as a viewer it's your responsibility to look out for the livelihood of those making these videos. I don't feel like it's your job to financially support them. I've always felt like YouTube should be a hobby first, and then if you happen to make enough money organically to make it work. But I just personally feel a little bit uncomfortable with this idea of trying to actively get people to just pay to make that happen. I know this has to be true for a lot of entertainment industries. It's not just YouTube, but there's something about the fact that it's just open source. Anyone can make these videos. I just don't want you as a viewer to feel like you need to support these people. Because, yes, they might need your help to continue their lifestyle, but not everybody has to do this for a living or has to make insane money off of it. This is, above all else, supposed to be a hobby. People are supposed to do this because they appreciate it and they enjoy it. And you shouldn't feel like you have to contribute to the content creators, because especially in the Toontown community, I think the reason why people in the Toontown community do it so much, a lot of that has to do with the idea that I think they solicit a little bit more. I know that Loopy Goopy G advertises his Patreon pretty heavily and offers those big incentives, so some people bite and take the big price. I know that, I'm just picking a couple YouTubers that I can think of. I'm sure there's more, and I don't want to single these people out. I know that Mega Snoop, again, he generally... He makes a challenge where he'll try to get more subs on Twitch, or he'll set donation goals of like $1,000 at times for things. And that's not wrong for him to do. He's doing it because he obviously needs the money and he can't get these things done without his donation help. But what I just want anyone knowing is it's not your responsibility to look out for the livelihood of that person making content for you. And you don't need to spend huge amounts of money, especially is the biggest thing. If you want to give a little bit to support your creator, you want to do that sub, give them $10, that's great. But when you get to this point where you feel guilty if you're not giving huge amounts of money to help somebody out, I don't think you should feel that way. Because at the end of the day, yes, it's great that people make YouTube videos, but I don't think that somebody's livelihood depending on huge donations, I'm talking like hundreds of dollars in certain instances, or, those $20 Patreons. I don't think relying on large individual contributions to sustain your lifestyle, I just don't think that's a practice that should be placed upon the viewers or forced upon them. Somebody wants to do it, great, but no one should feel obligated to. That's all I'm saying, Maybe I'm completely wrong about this. Maybe those who are giving those large contributions feel really good about it. Maybe it genuinely just makes them happy to know that they're helping someone's lifestyle out, but just know it's not your responsibility. That's all I'm saying. And I think it's a little bit uncomfortable, the donation culture. And it's not even just limited to Toontown. It just seems to be a little bit more concentrated. So if you want to help out your streamer, make their lifestyle possible, and help out their YouTube creator, that's great. Just please do it responsibly. And in the future, if I ever do these things personally, which I don't especially plan to, I linked to my fucking Twitch alerts thing once. It's a joke, and nobody donated to that, thankfully. I just did it as a joke, honestly. But in the future, if I ever open up my donations to anything like that, just please don't donate unless you absolutely just want to help me out or for anyone else. I feel like you should only donate a small amount, and you should do it for the symbolic gesture of helping someone out, not to literally support their livelihood and existence. And like I said, this video is just all my opinions. This is a very rambly, ranty video. These are just my opinions. I don't want you to attack anyone else who has a different philosophy on this. This is just how I feel, and this is how I felt for a long time. I was going to make a more aggressive video about this topic, and I realized that just didn't feel right. I felt uncomfortable making an aggressive video on this topic because everybody has a different perspective. Those who are collecting the donations, they're doing it because they need the money to sustain their lifestyle. They're not trying to do bad things with it. But I feel like the people donating also, to some degree, also, they know what they're doing. If you're donating huge amounts to your content creator, just know that's not normal to donate to the degree that the Toontown YouTubers are getting the money. It's not expected of you, viewers in large quantities, to give large amounts of money to those making the videos. That's not your job. Do it if you want to, but never feel like you need to get some goodie, or this is like required of you, or this is some type of package deal. I don't believe in putting paywalls behind content, or just I feel a little bit uncomfortable with a little bit of the solicitation culture we got going on, and that probably sounds a little fucking bad to say. So this is a very, very ranty video, very rambly. I just kind of wanted to put this up to get my general thoughts out there. Sorry if this guy offends you guys. I'm just giving my opinions. Don't freak if you feel differently, and feel free to explain to me why you feel differently, because that's completely fine. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this didn't piss a lot of people off, and I'm sorry if it did. I'll see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.